All right, welcome back. So today, February 3rd, is Four Chaplains Day. A lot of people may not know that. It's a special day, and we have Chaplain Gordon Groseclose with us here to break it all down for us. Good morning, sir. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, Nick. Good to be with you this morning.
Thanks for coming on. So I think to start, it would be beneficial if you could just tell our audience, our viewers, a little bit about your background and how you got involved with the Armed Services Ministry and how it relates to the day we're celebrating today.
Sure. Thanks, Nick. Yeah, I've had the privilege to serve just over 3 decades with the United States Army, serving in assignments stateside and overseas, working primarily in the medical side, but also with the infantry, military intelligence, signal. Opportunity to serve today. We have over 2 million service members in uniform, and along that, 5,000 chaplains. So I had a chance to be part of that incredible group of chaplains serving, loving, praying for, and caring for America's finest soldiers. Today, this is a really important day for us as chaplains. It's the celebration of an incredible moment. 78 years ago, in the middle of World War II, a convoy left from the United States to Greenland to resupply some air bases there. In that convoy was a Dorchester. It was a converted troop carrier. On board were 900 personnel and crew members. Rough voyage, middle of the winter, a lot of ice, a lot of storm, almost out of danger, close to the air cover from Greenland and safety from the U-boats. But 1 o'clock in the middle of the night, freezing morning, Dorchester was struck with 3 torpedoes. In those first few minutes, the explosion and the flooding lower decks, over a third of the men would lose their lives. But also on board the Dorchester were those 4 chaplains you see the picture in the background. 2 of them were Protestant clergy. One was a Jewish rabbi. One was a Roman Catholic priest. And the survivors tell the story with a bit of amazement as the chaplains were on board, giving a sense of calm in the midst of the chaos. As you can imagine, people trying to get to the lifeboats. They began handing out the life vests. And soon the life vests were gone, and realizing there's still men in line for life vests, the chaplains took off their own life vests, their gloves, and handed it out to those that remained. The Dorchester would sink in 25 minutes from the first torpedo hitting that. And survivors tell, listening of the chaplains standing together on the deck of the Dorchester in the final moments, yelling out words of encouragement and prayers. And that selfless sacrifice is what we celebrate today as chaplains. They were awarded the Purple Heart and the Distinguished Service Cross. And that's a great motivation for a chaplain to realize that it's all about taking care of America's finest.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, too, what do you think the public should look at when they think of Four Chaplains Day? What's the takeaway? What do you think it teaches people that we could have applied today, the lesson from the day?
I think America produced 4 incredible chaplains, and America is still producing incredible chaplains that are making a difference for this nation. And I think in the midst of the struggles we have as a nation, realize that that's part of the fiber as we as Americans, realizing that we can do great things for our neighbors, to make the sacrifice, to make our world, our nation, a better place to be.
And could you talk a little bit about the importance of chaplains in the military?
Sure. Armed Services Ministry has been providing scripture resources for over 200 years. We figure close to 60 million Bibles and scripture resources to chaplains to equip them to make a difference in the lives of the soldiers they take care of. It can be difficult working in the military. I know myself, my family and I did over 13 moves. I did additional moves. It's hard for family members to make the change. Jobs, spouses have careers are always disrupted. I know my kids found it difficult, at least one of them found it difficult to shift between the schools. And a chaplain is in that unique position to be there to help them during their times of transition, to be a word of hope and word of encouragement.
And what do you plan to do in the future in terms of outreach to possibly lawmakers, maybe to do some events in Washington for the actual day, Chaplain's Day, in the future when the pandemic's over?
Right. So what we're doing right now is to support chaplains during these hard times is trying to move many of our resources online to digital. We provide no-cost resources to service members, veterans, and their families. And we're figuring out ways to support chaplains to make a difference during these hard times. It's difficult. And so we, as a part of Armed Services Ministry, really want to make a difference for families going through hard times to realize that God has a word to them of encouragement and hope during these times.
That's great. That's great. And is there one story as we wrap up that you would like to share with the public related to the Four Chaplains Day that maybe they may not have heard before, and maybe even an experience you had related to the day?
I would say what has importance to me is my son-in-law is in the Navy, and he's been deployed on an aircraft carrier. Just received news on Sunday they're coming home after 10 months. And so it's the concern of their family, my daughter, his son, to realize that their loved one is in harm's way, and realize that we as a nation can be praying for our chaplains, praying for our service members, to realize on this day, it's about service, it's about sacrifice. And I know for Dan, it's been a tough 10 months, but he did that for the sake of his family and for the sake of his nation. And we can make a difference today. And I would just encourage us as Americans realize that we probably won't be needing to give a life preserver to our neighbor, but we can make a difference to hand out a hug, hope, a kind word, to make a difference. And I would encourage those to check out our website at armedservicesministry.org to find out all the resources that we're providing to military and service members at no cost. And we're there to make a difference. And we thank America for supporting us in that effort.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. Both of my grandfathers served. One of my grandfathers served in World War II as a medic, and the other was in the Korean War in military police. So it's always great to hear stories related to the military. Thank you so much. We'll be back.
Good. Thank you.